take us through a little bit around the original employment equity, how our country works, and just give me that amazing background that I know that you do so well.
Sure, no problem. I think before I start with the legislation, what I'll maybe share with you is, let's look at the state of our economy right now. And I'll give you just a couple of stats, because I mean, we've had COVID, we're getting out of COVID right now. And I think that'll paint the picture of where we are right now. And then I'll take you back to the future as to where the legislation started and the objectives it was trying to achieve. A lot of people don't realize that right now, unfortunately, South Africa has the highest unemployment rate in the world.
Wow.
Pre-COVID numbers, we've had a 19% drop in semi-skilled and unemployed youth. So it's gotten even worse. What's linked to this indirectly is since COVID, half of the SMEs that were in our ecosystem have closed doors. So COVID's really had an impact on SMEs, which are one of the large job creators in any economy. And I think a lot of people don't realize this, but we, as South Africa, only 56% of the population actually have access to internet, right? So why am I mentioning all of these things is because, you know, we talk about 4IR and you hear discussions about new technology. The reality is that, you know, most of the population don't have access to internet.
Yeah.
When you look at it from an entrepreneurial point of view, there is a study that's done. It's called the GEDI study. It's the Global Entrepreneurship Development Index. South Africa ranks 57th out of 137 countries. So that is the state of our economy right now. And we obviously need to change things from an economic point of view. So let's go back to 1994.
Okay.
What happened in 1994? What is a big thing that happened in our country in 1994?
Oh, you mean our elections and moving out of apartheid?
Right.
Yeah.
So we won the right to vote as a people of the country, right? So it was our first democratic elections.
Yeah.
And that's what we won, the ability to vote. So we won political freedom. What was lacking was economic freedom.
Yeah.
So the powers that be eventually said, how do we get economic freedom? What does economic freedom even look like? And they went and did research and understood, and this is an oversimplified version of it. I'm not an economist, but for people to understand, they said, what does good look like? What does a good economy look like? And the answer was that there was a very specific shape. The shape of a good economy is the shape of a diamond, where at the top of the diamond, you have some rich and wealthy people. At the bottom of the diamond, you have some poor people. But at the middle, which is the fattest portion of the diamond, is you've got a very strong, thriving middle class. Now, that is what the shape of a good economy looks like. If that's the case, what do you think the shape of South Africa's economy looks like?
Well, yeah, like inverted to that.
Inverted, but it's almost like a triangle, right?
Yeah.
So we have rich people, we have wealthy people in our country. We've got a diminishing middle class.
Yeah.
So it's getting squeezed. And at the bottom, we have an over-bloated bottom of poor people. So if the shape of the economy is a good economy is a diamond, and our current economy is looking like a samosa or like a triangle, you know, what do we need to do? We need to move from the triangle to the diamond. And effectively, that means you need to take the people that are at the bottom and push them towards the middle and push more people towards the top for us to create the diamond. And so how do we do that, right? How do you actually do that? You need to understand, okay, what are the things that are inhibiting people from moving there? And there's really three things, right? The first is people need access to skills. They need to upskill themselves in order for them to become more valuable for the economy and add value by doing jobs or different pieces of work. The second thing that they need access to the actual economy, right? So they need access to the economy and, you know, like finance. So they need access to finance. And so you need to provide them with different financial solutions, the ability to transact, because the economy works in that way. And so those are like the three things. You need access to skills, access to the economy, and you need access to finance. Now, that's looking at it completely objective. That's what's going to move people up. So when they understood this, what transpired out of that, you know, post 1994 was the National Development Plan, and a subset of the National Development Plan is the BEE codes, so the broad-based Black economic codes. And at its core, that is the three things that it looks to solve. It looks to increase the access to skills of the general population of South Africa, increase the ability for them to access the economy, and increase the ability for them to access the finance and financial solutions. Now, the reality is that that is what the objective is. Unfortunately, when you look at the demographics of our country, over 95% of our population is people of color. And so the BE codes is used as a means to say, okay, we need, and the majority of them sit at the bottom of the triangle.
Sure.
So the codes is used to say, okay, how do we move those people up for us to create the diamond, for us to have a thriving economy? So if you take color out of it, the reality is the codes is actually looking to help us build a sustainable and thriving economy of South Africa.
Yeah.